Hello, Watem here. Welcome back to Small Umineko When Seagulls Cry. Just wanted to start with like the chapter name, Ange and Maria. Yeah, interesting. But yeah, between the parts, I looked up Menja sponges, and yeah, it's a fractal thing where you've got the cube within an empty cube kind of space within it, and you just keep repeating that pattern with each subsequent cube. Yeah, so yeah, it was St. Lucia as well for Higurashi. Higurashi's set in 83, meanwhile, this says after 86. We don't know exactly how long after. But yeah, so if Higurashi's in 83, that meant Shion left in 82, I believe. So yeah, she left the year before Higurashi's set. And Rika and Satoko joined 5 years after Higurashi, so I put it in 88. So maybe between? Who knows? Maybe we'll see Rika. Who knows? But yeah, in any case, let's continue. I was dark because I was disliked. So, trying not to get in the way of everyone's refreshing morning anymore, I stooped lower and entered the classroom. Well, I feel like it isn't that you're dark because you're disliked. You're dark because you've had a rough childhood. And because you're dark, you're disliked. Almost like I was cutting through the aisle in a movie theatre while the movie was running. This is an all-dorm school, St. Lucia Academy. It's not a school that anyone can get into by taking a test. It's a hidden rich girl school, known of only by a select group of celebrities from various fields. For lofty nobles who truly wish their daughters could be raised like saints. This is probably the ideal school in which to protect them from the impurities of the common world. But at the same time, it was probably also convenient for nobles who wanted to confine daughters they didn't want out in public. As well as an academy isolated from the impurities of the common world, it also held excellent potential as a prison school. I was truly among the latter, and was confined in St. Lucia Academy, forced to live my life in dreariness. Of course, there weren't that many students like me, and you couldn't tell us apart at a glance. However, even if we never fessed up about it, you could usually figure out who we were by watching how we acted. After all, we were always hanging our heads, with an expression on our faces as though the whole world had abandoned us. From memory, though, Shion was the opposite and acted as though she was normal until the day she broke out. Anyway, every class had one or two kids like that, so even if they didn't speak up about it, you could guess who they were. Therefore, even though I never confessed that I was one of those kids, at some point, everyone in my class knew about it. Just like how the seriousness of an injury becomes a sign of status in a hospital room. How noble birth one had became a sign of status here. Those girls who couldn't be acknowledged in public were probably nothing more than filth to the others. They must have thought that getting involved with such students would dirty them as well. When a rumour sprang up about a particular student, those fastidious girls would grow cold and distant, chasing that student out of all social groups. Thanks to that, I live a quiet school life like this, all by myself. Well, that's only if hearing people whisper behind my back, finding my things lost or broken all the time, and having everyone pretend like they didn't know anything can be called a quiet school life. Even this early in the morning, I must look worn out. I can almost understand why my other classmates, who had a refreshing morning, looked at my face and wanted to click their tongues. Consciously trying to do as I should and avoid tainting my classmates' morning, I quietly took my seat. Then, unusually, someone came to talk to me. It was the class leader.
ごきげんよう、白宮さん。朝からご機嫌斜めなご様子ね。ちゃんと睡眠は取られてる？ 何かご用ですか？
学年発表会のアンケート、まだ提出してないの、後宮さんだけよ。昨日までが提出日だったの、お忘れ？
I'm pretty sure I heard something about that last week, but I thought the questionnaire hadn't been passed out yet. The details would be written there, so there shouldn't have been any need to remember them beforehand.
アンケート用紙もらってないですけど。
そんなはずありませんよ。寮長から全員にちゃんと配布されてるはずです。なくしてしまったならそうと素直におっしゃればいいのに。
なくしました。今すぐ書きますから。用紙をいただけますか？
Again. Either someone lost my sheet or they intentionally didn't tell me about it. But I have no way of knowing who was behind that. In the end, treating it as though it was my own carelessness would settle everything more quickly.
書いたらご自身で生徒会室のアンケートポストに投函されるように。うちのクラスだけですよ。ゆうべま。
As I hung my head at the class leader's scolding, I could hear the giggles and whispers of people watching, coming from no direction in particular. Ushiramiya-san did it again. She's just so careless. She doesn't deserve to be in this school. She has no dignity and no manners either. Sorry, girls, but I've dealt with much worse when it comes to unfair personal attacks. As I froze my heart and let those arrows of ridicule pass by, I quickly filled out the questionnaire. When I learned that father and mother and Oni-chan and all the rest of my family had died, I was at the house of my grandpa on my mother's side. The only survivor of the accident was Ushiramiya ever. Yes, accident. You know how it is, those accidental bullet wounds you get? Only Aunt Eva. Even at the time, I hadn't really liked Aunt Eva. At a glance, she would act kindly. But even as young as I was, I could see that she was somehow making fun of father and the rest, and I hadn't liked it. So when it was decided that Aunt Eva would take care of me, I was pretty miserable. Maybe it wouldn't have mattered if that gentle Uncle Hideyoshi and George Oni-chan had been with me, but I hated the thought of living all alone with Aunt Eva. I'd frankly said that to Grandpa, hoping to live together in his house. However, Aunt Eva had been very insistent that she should be the one to look after me. She had no desire to remarry, so as her successor, I was essential if the Ushiramiya family was to continue. Aunt Eva felt very strongly about the family. She insisted that she should take charge of me right away so that she could give me an education and lifestyle fitting for a successor. After that, it seems that confusing negotiations with lawyers took place, but in the end, I was forced to go live with Aunt Eva. After doing that, Aunt Eva told me something. You must bear all the glory and history of the Ushiramiya family, and in order to make you a fitting successor to bear that, the rest of your life will be dedicated to frantic studying. Sacrifice the rest of your life for the Ushiramiya family. That's what she said. At first I thought she meant that literally, but I quickly realized that wasn't the case. Because even now, in Aunt Eva's eyes, the one most fitting to succeed her was the late George Oni-chan. At our first meal together, I received strict instructions and questioning about table manners, and was forced to listen to her abuse Mum and Dad as though they'd been neglectful in their discipline. I also received the same strict instructions regarding manners at my first party. My clumsiness had been disparaged in front of everybody, forcing me to endure insults to Mum and Dad as well. After that repeated over and over, I eventually began to understand. Aunt Eva didn't really want to make me her successor. She thought George Oni-chan was the only one who was truly suited to be her successor, and she couldn't forgive the fact that it was to be me instead. So she insulted me in front of lots of people. She humiliated me, and she made it known exactly how I was inferior to George Oni-chan, to both acquaintances and strangers, surely in place of a memorial service for her dead son. Or rather, she must still be mourning his death. However, That wasn't something I could endure. I couldn't possibly live together with Aunt Eva. I was kept like a pet, my life continually compared with her dead son's. I understood that even when I was still in elementary school. It's elementary, dear Watson. I tried to escape the Yoshimiya house and run off to the house of my grandpa on my mother's side. However, Aunt Eva had already foreseen that. No, thinking back on it, she might have lured me into escaping. I was caught by the guards and brought back. And for being a coward who had smeared the Yoshimiya family crest with mud and tried to throw it away, in a way that makes my whole body shake and shiver just remembering it, I was punished. How should I describe what Aunt Eva was like when she punished me? In a frenzy? Gleeful? I saw the anger and sadness of losing her beloved son, as well as the hatred and pain from me stealing that inheritance from the son who should have received it. And the dark pleasure at being able to let those feelings out on me. I was hit with all those negative emotions at once. Then, all of my free time and freedom to act was stolen, and I was put under surveillance around the clock. I may have lived in a gorgeous mansion, dressed in expensive clothes, but my heart and my dignity had been trampled upon, and I was usually a family slave, its cattle. Compared to that lifestyle, the derisive laughter of my classmates here was calm and pleasant. It caused my heart no trouble. After burying almost all of the field and some questionnaire with nothing in particular, I folded it and put it in my pocket. Because if I left it in my desk, it might disappear again. During lunch break, after dropping it off at the postbox in the student council room, I finished lunch by myself, as usual, and headed behind the school building where no one could be seen. Only my time by myself could protect me from the derisive laughter and gossip. Since I was hated and didn't have a single friend, my time alone was the most kind to me. After checking the surrounding bushes to see whether some malicious classmates were hiding and threatening my time of quiet, I finally relaxed the tension from my entire body, knowing that I had gained some true peace. Then, I let out a sigh. It faltered, heavy, as though it was the first time I had breathed out today. My old favourite place behind the vegetable garden storehouse had been found out by my classmates, and I'd been teased, so this is my new lunchtime hideaway. There was nowhere to sit behind the school building. As I crouched down near the wall in the shadow of the bushes, I opened my bag and took out a book with an elaborate, old-fashioned binding. Just glancing at it, you'd probably think it was a religious book or something written in the Middle Ages. But this wasn't a book, it was a diary. Of course, it wasn't my diary. There weren't any special things worth writing about in my daily life. Every single day was just grey, cold, and dry. In those completely unchanging days, there aren't any changes worth writing down. This was the diary of Maria Onechan, a girl I'd been very close to. She'd been a bit strange and 3 years older than me, but Onechan was always a warm, wonderful cousin. She would always grab me by the hand and let me join in on some fun game. I remember that being able to see her was the most fun part of our family gatherings. When I opened the diary, the characters, which were made fairly skillfully considering that this was an elementary school, were packed close together, though they were written on every other line. Was she just hopelessly obsessed with jotting everything down in her diary? Probably not. To her, writing her daily life down in a diary was probably like having a conversation with another part of herself. So rather than an object in which the events of her day were written down, Maria Onechan's diary was written like a letter to another part of herself, telling of the events of that day. How very convenient. I was attempting to solve the murders. I found this diary among her belongings after her death and secretly took it home. At first, I thought that reading someone else's diary might be boorish, and satisfied myself with just keeping it by my side. But I couldn't help flipping through the pages and reading through it bit by bit. By now, she had become my only friend. I gently opened to a page of a bookmark.
マリアお姉ちゃん、お待たせ。また、お姉ちゃんのお話を聞かせて。
So this is why it's Maria and Ange. At the same time, a very, very soft breeze blew, tickling the paper. I thought the open diary might have sparkled faintly. The weather's good today. Maria One-chan loves the wonderful rays of sunlight, so I'm sure she's in a good mood. On the pages of the open diary, no, in the world of the diary, Maria One-chan showed herself. I'm pretty sure she was 9 when she died, so her form was already younger than me. But I call her One-chan, so she affectionately calls me Ange.
おう、エンジェ、今日は来るのが遅かった。お昼混んでた？
うん。いつも混んでるわ。仲良しグループたちが席を陣取ってる上に、食事を終えた後も席を塞ぎ続けてるから、食堂に行くのが遅くなると致命的ね。今日は片付けの当番だったから。
Yeah, that's cute.
マリア、ご飯食べるの早い。早く食べ終わるとその分いっぱい遊べるな。
Maybe she realized I was holding a grudge because that duty had been forced upon me and shortened my lunch break a bit. Maria One-chan brightly changed the subject. Grateful for that act of kindness, I responded by saying I was a slow eater. Maria calmed me down, saying something about teaching me the trick to eating fast. I read about it in her diary. No, I heard from Maria One-chan. She was ranked number 1 among the girls in the speed eating rankings for a grade's newspaper. She was apparently very proud of that, but a little disappointed that her mother, Aunt Rosa, hadn't praised her very much for it.
じゃあ今日のお話を始めるね。昨日はどこまでお話をしたかな？お？
ここまでよ。マリアお姉ちゃんがサクタロをプレゼントしてもらったところまで。サクタロの話を聞かせてくれる約束になってたわ。
サクタロのこと話すよ。サクタロはね、とっても可愛いぬいぐるみなの。エンジェもきっと気に入るよ。
そのお話を聞かせて。マリアお姉ちゃんにお話を聞かせてもらえる昼休みだけが学校で一番心を許せる時間だもの。
マリア話す。サクタロはね、
When I looked at Maria One-chan, who was always in a good mood, it made my heart feel warm as well. As I listened to her tale, I began to get absorbed into her world. Huh?
ハッピーバースデー、マリア。ごめんね、帰りが遅くなって。
Oh, that's cute.
ママもお仕事お疲れ様。マリア、ママが忙しいの知ってるから遅くなっても泣かないで待ってた。おとなしくテレビ見て待ってた。
マリアは偉いわね。お行儀よく待ってたご褒美に今日は何でも好きなものを注文していいわよ。もちろん食べきれる分だけだけどね。
今日はコーンスープをオニオングラタンスープに変えてもいい？
ええ、いいわよ。
200円高くなるけどプロシュートピッツァに変えてもいい？
ええ、いいわよ。本当に食べられるならね。でもいっか、誕生日だしね。ちゃんとお行儀よく待ってたいい子のマリアにご褒美もないとね。
エンチェラードチーズケーキもつけていい？あとね、シェフの気まぐれフルーツサラダにキッズフライドポテト。メロンソーダも飲みたい。マリアはいい子、マリアはいい子。ママに褒められた。
ちょっとはしゃぎすぎよ。もう少し静かにしないと他のお客さんに迷惑よ。
Rosa gently admonished her. Maria stuck her tongue out and eased up a little. But it seemed that she was having a hard time repressing her excitement at being able to eat out with her mother after such a long time. Today was Maria's birthday. Rosa always tried to let Maria spend her birthdays at great restaurants. When Maria had been in kindergarten, they sometimes invited other kids from the neighborhood over and had a party at home. Rosa would make a wonderful cake and snacks and decorate the house herself, making it a huge celebration. But when they moved and Maria no longer had friends in the neighborhood, Rosa had started splurging at expensive restaurants instead. However, today, they were in a normal family restaurant. It was also a little late in the day for a kid like Maria to eat there, even with her parent. Actually, she'd gotten reservations at a fantastic place that would surely have pleased Maria. Of course, she had also prepared a wonderful cake with Maria's name written on it. But Rosa just hadn't been able to finish up her business and had been forced to cancel. No. Since that plan had been traded for a local family restaurant, Rosa felt a little indebted to Maria. So she was prepared to spoil Maria a bit and let her have whatever she wanted tonight.
マリアお姉ちゃんってあんまり食べないんじゃなかった？こんなに頼んで大丈夫なの？
あんまり食べられないけど、いっぱい並ぶのが好きなの。お誕生日のテーブルはね、赤、青、緑に黄色、いっぱい色とりどりだと幸せになれるの。
そうね。お誕生日のテーブルってカラフルだと幸せな気持ちになれるわね。うちの誕生日はマリアお姉ちゃんのところにはだいぶ負けるけど、駅前のケーキ屋さんで買ってくるケーキがいつもとても華やかだったっけ。
Angie thought back to her own birthdays nostalgically. Even though Dad was busy, he sometimes came home just to show up at my birthday party, and then right back to his company. At the time I was sad, but now I understand how important I was to Dad. Of course, Mum also took very good care of me. In particular, her birthday presents were always in excellent taste, and she sometimes arranged for them several months in advance. Even though we always sent an invitation to battle on each other, he didn't get along with Dad or something, so he kept not coming. So when he did come, I was really happy. The birthday parties when the whole 4-person family gathered made for fun memories that I'll never forget.
エンジェのお誕生日もとても楽しそうだね。
Not anymore.
バトラとルドルフおじさんがすごく賑やか。ワイワイキャッキャ。あ、バトラジュースかけられてる。
Maria One-chan peeked into my happy memory. As I sat quietly, wearing the origami helmet that Dad had made for fun, I was a little embarrassed. In my hand was a paper gun that Battler Oni-chan had folded for me. And Mum was taking a commemorative photo. It was the happiest moment of my life.
でもマリアお姉ちゃんの誕生日だって負けてないよ。それで今日もらえるんでしょ、サク太郎は。
すっごく楽しみだった。ママのカバンの脇にあるプレゼントの包みを早く見せてもらえないかなとずっとワクワクしてた。
Sakutaro is the name of the stuffed animal that Maria was to receive that day. For quite some time before then, Aunt Rosa had been making a stuffed animal to give Maria as a present today. Hearing that it was a cute lion stuffed animal, Maria One-chan had already given it the name Sakutaro, even though she hadn't received it yet. Today, she was looking forward to meeting Sakutaro, even more than her own birthday. Aunt Rosa ran a clothing design company. It seemed to be some kind of brand name. What was it, Aunt Rosa? Auntie Rosa? It seems her catchphrase was, "I can't forgive me of yesterday." Unfortunately, I've never met someone who knew of that brand name. Maybe it wasn't that famous. So, Aunt Rosa was pretty skilled with her hands. I heard that she made some of the clothing she wore herself. Just making a stuffed animal had to be well within her capabilities.
手作りのぬいぐるみなんてちょっと素敵。
It might be a different set of skills though.
ところで、サクタロって名前、
本当はさくらってつけたかった。でもオスライオンのぬいぐるみだから男の子の名前にしなさいって言われたの。だから男の子っぽく太郎を加えてさく太郎。最後の「う」はいつの間にかなくなっちゃった。
なんでさくらなの？
テレビアニメの主人公の名前。
I think the English name for that is Card Captor Sakura. I think it's that one. I think that's how that name goes as well. It was the name of the main character in a TV anime that was popular at the time. In fact, she'd simply borrowed the name of a character she liked was, how should I say it, as innocent and cute as you'd expect from someone that age. Also, I have to say, that is quite cute.
Mama!
They've also got matching ruffles there. I don't know what they're actually called.
サク太郎まだ。サク太郎も一緒にお誕生日混ぜてあげたい。
プレゼントはいつも最後でしょ。今広げると汚しちゃうわよ。食事が終わるまで我慢しなさい。
じゃあ早く食事を終わらす。
As soon as she proclaimed that, she started tearing into her meal. Aunt Rosa got mad at her, saying that it was rude. It seemed that she'd expected this would happen right away. I also thought that, given how straightforward Maria was, that was probably what she'd do. So it was kind of pleasant when my expectations weren't betrayed. In the end, Aunt Rosa lost her daughter's eyes, which were sparkling with anticipation, cleaned up the table, and took out the long-awaited wrapped present.
ハッピーバースデー、マリア。なかなか時間が取れなくて、あまり上手に作れなかったんだけど。
ママの手作りなら何でも嬉しい。サク太郎、サク太郎。
I thought you dropped for you. Aunt Rosa spoke a bit humbly, but Maria on her chan was happy even before opening the wrapping. I could really understand that feeling. It's not a problem of quality. Just the fact that it was a handmade present was more pleasing than anything.
開けてもいい？開けてもいい？
本当はお家に帰ってからにしてほしいんだけど、ちょっと見て挨拶したら一度しまうのよ。ちゃんと挨拶するのはお家に帰ってからにするのよ。ここはお外なんだからはしゃいじゃダメよ。約束できる？
約束する。だから開けてもいい？開けてもいい？ママ。
はいはい、ちょっとだけよ。
Before Aunt Rosa finished talking, Maria started unwrapping it. As soon as she did, yellow and orange peeked out. What appeared was a slightly blank-looking lion stuffed animal, with cute round eyes and a white chest. It's about the size of a small pillow. It looked pretty big next to someone as short as Maria on Ange, but it probably wasn't that large. From the perspective of someone who didn't know better, it would probably look like something cheap bought from a department store or something. But to Maria on Ange, it was her mother's handmade stuffed animal, the only one of its kind in the world and irreplaceable.
サク太郎、
Why are you giving me 2 CGs in one part? Grr. Well, on that note, actually, I'm going to be ending it there for today. I might actually cut this a bit earlier and then have this CG appear next time. But in any case, I hope you've all enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments, and until next time, see ya.